Hi everyone, Dark Energy here with AOE Gaming, bringing you yet another non-meta build. This one I am super excited about. It's a hybrid build that works, and works very, very well. If you've ever wanted the benefits of stamina builds, the maneuverability, the dodge roll, the sprinting, the break free, all of that, the endless stamina, including Vigor healing, on top of the benefits of Magicka, you got your shield warding. This build can do so much. It is so powerful, and the sustain is unparalleled. You've got, as you saw on the stat screen, over 30,000 max resources on both stamina and Magicka, 2,000 recovery for both stamina and Magicka, and you're between 3,500 and, depending on the monster set, 4,000 weapon and spell damage. Check out these next PvP clips, and then we'll loop back around and discuss the build. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed those clips. Now let's dig a little deeper into the build here. The first thing we'll show again is the stat screen. We've got over 30,000 max Magicka, over 30,000 max stamina, about 2,000 recovery apiece, including health recovery up to 1,100. That's as a vampire. And weapon and spell damage 32 and 3,300. And there are some variations I'll show in a minute to this stat screen. We'll get into those later. All points are in stamina. We're a vampire. You get that 10% Magicka and stamina recovery, and that additional damage mitigation when you drop below 50% health. Bewitched Sugar Skulls. It's a tri-food with a health recovery, and our boon is the Mage. Now, we are a Dark Elf. There isn't a better race for a hybrid build than a Dark Elf, and I'll show why here. So Dark Elf passives, obviously Max Magicka and Max Stamina, 1875 apiece. That goes a long way. Resist Flame isn't as big of a deal, but there is a lot of flame damage in PvP, so you're going to avoid burning dots. And the last one, Ruination, increased weapon and spell damage by 258. I would definitely recommend being a Dark Elf for this build. And we are a Sork, and I'll show why I feel this is the best class for this build. Now we'll go ahead and move on and discuss the gear, which you might have guessed based on the character's name. Shacklebreaker is our first set. Shacklebreaker Greatsword, Nirnhone with a Berserker Glyph, weapon damage, spell damage, stamina and magicka recovery, and the 5th trait is 2,000 max stats apiece, stamina and magicka. You can't beat that. Shacklebreaker Inferno Staff with a double dot poison. We'll get into why we were doing that in a minute here. Same traits, obviously, but there's nothing better than weaving a crushing shock and light attack, and you get that double dot at the same time, poison, in addition to those magicka elements. The monster set is Engine Guardian. Now, I played with a couple different monster sets because there are several that are pretty good for hybrid builds, and we'll touch on those very briefly, but nothing could beat Engine Guardian. If you do the math, it's over 15,000 magicka, stamina, or health over 6 seconds every 8 seconds. It's 15,800 actually. And the first trait is health recovery, helping us get that 1100 that you saw we achieved here. Some other good sets were Molag Kina, Balorg is a good one to use, Dami Hoss is a good one to use. I even like to use Valken Scoria. I can't find a build where Valken Scoria isn't a benefit, a PvP build where Valken Scoria doesn't rock. So, but I'll kind of show how these ones look on the stat screen and give kind of like a miniature display here. But first, we'll go ahead and finish the primary gear. So the next set is Amber Plasm. It's a Magicka focus set, but the 5th trait is what we want. So Max Magicka spell crit, spell damage, then 250 Magicka and 250 stamina recovery. That goes a long way. What good is max resource without the recovery and the sustain? So that's how we're getting a lot of it, maintaining ourselves around 2,000 Magicka and stamina recovery apiece. The jewelry you see as well is all recovery, 1 Magicka and 2 stamina. You could make him weapon and spell damage if you wanted, I suppose, but you're going to be over 3,300, potentially even 4,100, depending on the monster set you use. That one will be Kina or Balorg, and like I said, we'll go over those in a minute. But since Engine Guardian is the primary and I feel the best, we'll go ahead and give a display of how this one works. So 10% chance when you cast a skill, he's going to come out, give you over 15,000 magicka or stamina or health over the course of 6 seconds. That is awesome when we got 1,100 health recovery and 2,000 magicka and stamina recovery apiece. You can just keep going and going and going. And how perfect for a hybrid build, by the way, giving you the different resources, because no matter what he gives you, you can work with it. Now, the runner-up, I feel, was definitely Molag Kina. Weapon and spell damage as the first trait. The second trait, you get 516 weapon and spell damage when you do 2 light attacks in a row. You proc Overkill. And when you do that, what that looks like on the stat screen buffed up, I'll show here when I proc it. There it is, there's Overkill. Now we've got 4,100 apiece weapon and spell damage. The other stats still look the same, except for the health recovery, because we lost Engine Guardian's first trait. So very good looking stat screen there. There's actually a trick too, by the way, how to like kind of cheat proc it. So when you throw a hard frag, a slow conjured up hard frag, you sneak 2 light attacks in with it. You're already pressing the light attack button before the frag is released. So you're pressing it now, There it is, instantly. You got Overkill. Keep in mind though, abilities cost 20% more, and you lost Engine Guardian's resources. So a big difference there. The next one is actually like a mismatch. So 1 piece Dami Hoss and 1 piece Molag Kina. This one on the stat screen, just flat stat screen, looks really good. I mean, you could do some tricks to make it look even better. Heck, I could blow Warhorn right now and get even more max stats. But again, stat screen isn't everything. It's also the in-game battle mechanics you're going after. So that was 1 piece Dami Hoss, 1 piece Kina. You could even do 2 piece Dami Hoss, by the way. It's not bad. But then the next mismatch is 1 piece Kina, 1 piece Balorg. They both give you the same first trait, weapon and spell damage. So with 1 hit with the Berserker Glyph applying, you got 3,600, and that'll be pretty consistent, non-stop. So I spent a lot of time with these sets playing in Cyrodiil, playing in Battlegrounds, even doing some PvE content. And again, nothing Nothing seemed to beat Engine Guardian. The last one I'll show is Valken Scoria. Again, I said earlier, you almost can't beat a set like this. Stamina build, Magicka build, doesn't matter. It procs so often as long as you got some dots. It's bursty, it finds the target, and it also deals some AoE damage. So I just wanted to kind of show what the stat screen would look like if you decided to go with Valken Scoria. So here it is there, but actually 3,300 and 3,200 with the Berserker Glyph applying. So okay, so let's check out the skill lineup here. The first skills we're going to look at fall on the stamina or physical bar. The first one is Bound Armaments. Now, while it's slotted, your max stamina is increased by 8%. Also, while it's slotted, it's a Daedric summoning ability, and as a Sorc, when you have a Daedric summoning ability slotted, your stamina recovery and your health recovery are increased by 20%. That's a pretty big deal. If you don't want to use Bound Armaments, you can use Haunting Curse. It's also a Daedric summoning ability. You're still going to get your stamina and health recovery buff by 20%, but you're going to lose at 8% max stamina. Now, if you don't want either one of those, you can use like Dizzying Swing or something else, but you're going to lose that 20% stamina and health recovery, So what you might want to do if you do that is put on like the Atronach ultimate on this bar or something else. But then you kind of get into where you're switching skills and whatnot. So just be advised of that. The next skill, Reverse Slice. This is our execution morph. The other one, Executioner, will give you 400% damage when you swing, but this one gives you 300%. I like it better though because it deals AoE damage all around the target. They get 78% of his the primary target's damage. So the next skill, Stampede. This is our gap closer. We're not using Bolt Escape or Streak, but we do have one here and I like it. When you lunge in, you deliver a crit hit guaranteed. It's going to proc your Berserker Glyph, and then it leaves a dot and an AoE in the ground. Now, that's not as amazing in PvP, but if somebody goes back in it again, it's going to reproc your Berserker Glyph, even if you're on your staff bar. The next skill, Critical Surge, another huge benefit to being a Sorc. One skill gives you Major Brutality and Major Sorcery for your weapon and spell damage, and heals you over 3,000 health every second while delivering crit hits. That's incredible, and it's perfect for this build. You don't have to slot Entropy and then like rally your momentum. You got one skill is going to do them both for you. Next skill, Hurricane. You could use Boundless Storm. I wanted the physical damage. I like that it increases its size, that it increases its damage while it's out longer, and it's a little bigger than Boundless Storm. So if you want to pick Boundless Storm, you can. Boundless Storm lasts a little longer, but Hurricane deals more damage and is bigger. So the next skill, the ultimate on this bar, is Dawnbreaker of Smiting. As a Fighter's Guild ability, while it's slotted, your weapon damage is increased by 3%. You know, this one you could use, or you could use Onslaught, the two-handed ultimate. I like Dawnbreaker of Smiting because it does that initial hit, it stuns them, and you got a little bit of damage over time that follows after. Keep in mind, though, that when you change around and reslot different skills as you go, to always keep in mind the passives, because they might change. Just like as a Sorc, the more Sorc abilities you have slotted, your weapon and spell damage is increased by 2% each. All right, moving on, Staff Bar, Crushing Shock, Flame Frost, and Shock damage. Like to weave that with light attacks on this Inferno Staff, and when you're doing so, you're going to proc that double dot poison. There it is. You see that staff glowing green, and you see the orange dot on that guy. I mean, that's awesome to add some poison, some physical poison damage while you're weaving your light and heavy attacks and Crushing Shock. There I procced a Crystal Frag, but we haven't gotten to that one yet. I'm just showing you kind of the weave and how Crushing Shock is your primary full-on quick attack mode. Vigor. Everybody knows what this is. It's a stamina and weapon damage based heal. You get over 13,000 over 4 seconds. Pretty great heal to add to this build here. So Crystal Frags is our next skill. 10,000 at base with a normal frag, long casting, as I showed earlier when I talked about Molag Kina. And then when you cast Magicka abilities, you have a chance to proc an instant frag, which is more powerful, which I'm not lucking out here. Let me just leave some. There it is. I got a purple hands there. Now, when I cast this one, it's going to be quicker, and it's going to deal more damage. See, 11,000 and some change there. So That's crystal frags, and trying to get it to proc again. I guess I'll just weave. There's another proc. It's quicker. 17,000 right there with a crit hit. So you want to have crystal frags slotted while you're doing your rotation. Just keep your eye out. You're going to constantly proc them. The next skill and our second finisher, Endless Fury. I love this skill. It doesn't deal much damage up front, but it loads up for 4 seconds. And if you drop them below 20% health within that 4 seconds, it's going to fire off and deal 11, 12, 15, 16,000 damage, depending on whether or not it was a crit hit. That and reverse slice together, load them up with one, move on in, hit them with the other, and they're both going to hit. And absolutely demolish your enemy. Next skill, Empowered Ward. You could use Hardened Ward for a little more shield cap, but I like Empowered Ward for that extra Magicka recovery. You and your allies get minor intellect, increasing your Magicka recovery by 10%. So a lot better as far as group friendly. So I picked that one. Now for the ultimate on the staff bar, I've tried a couple different things. I've actually got to build some up here while I'm talking. So the Destro alt, I've done that. Eye of Flame. The Atronach's what I've been using. I think right now I have equipped the suppression field. I'll just go ahead and use it for now. It's a silencer, and it also is going to damage the enemy 3,000 damage every second. And you can stand in it, and then any enemy that enters will be silenced. They can't cast any Magicka abilities. But I think that the Atronach is probably the best as far as what you should slot on this bar. You definitely, I think, want a Sork ability because you get that 2% weapon and spell damage while having each one slotted. So you just get more power. If you slot Eye of Flame or, you know, like War Horn, something like that, you're going to lose that. You're going to lose out on that. Now, let's talk about some of the imperative passives as a Sork. So ultimate cost reduction is great. Daedric protection. This is what I was talking about as far as the stamina and health recovery while a Daedric summoning ability is slotted. We have a Daedric summoning ability slotted on both bars at all times. We don't want to lose that stamina and health recovery. So Haunting Curse or Bound Armaments on the first bar, and then on the other one we got Empowered Ward. Some other absolutely imperative passes we'll go over here, and you know, as a Sork, I think it's the best class for a hybrid. Here's why. Magicka recovery 10%, physical and shock damage by 5%, Expert Mage weapon and spell damage by 2% for each ability slotted. We got 6% because we got 3 abilities slotted. That's weapon and spell damage there. Physical and shock damage there. So this is why I think, one of the reasons why being a Sork is so beneficial. Reduces the cost of Magicka and stamina on the dark magic. You heal off of dark magic abilities. That's crystal frags, a nice table turner skill, another source of healing, crit surge, vigor, and this one here, blood magic. Reduce cost after you block an attack on stamina magic abilities, and then when you cast a dark magic ability, which is again crystal frags, you're going to give you and your allies some more spell crit. Like I said, a vampire, 10% Magicka and stamina recovery at all times. This Undeath passive is great. When you drop below 50% health, you take 33% less damage. And we got this unnatural resistance. We want that to help keep our health recovery high. Stage 3, with this point, our health recovery is only reduced by 25%. Another passive you want, Fighter's Guild, Slayer, increases your weapon damage by 3% for each Fighter's Guild ability slotted. That's Dawnbreaker of Smiting. Undaunted, we want these passives all the way, more resources, and especially Undaunted Metal. You wear a medium, light, and a heavy piece, you get 2% for each one. We got 6 because we're wearing all 3. That's going to increase your resources, your max resources, by 6%. We've got 5 light, 1 heavy, and 1 medium. Now, the last phase of the build, the champion points. We'll start with green, the tower, the thief. Break free and sprint is pretty much what you want here. There wasn't really any unlockables in this one that you really want. They're going to benefit you in battle, you know, ensnare maybe, but inspiration boost, war mount, none of this is really imperative. This one's highly invested. You got your Arcanist Magicka recovery, your Mooncalf stamina recovery, and your healthy recovery for all your health recovery we want there. As I always say, remember to invest only 1 decimal point above the next whole number, because anything else in between whole numbers, except for the first one past it, is a waste of CP points. None of this, I mean, this benefits us, I suppose. You synergize, you get 2 ultimate. So we're going to have 120 points in that tree. This tree, pretty much all you want is the roll dodge. If you want to tweak these a little bit and end up with a little more than 56 points into it, by all means go ahead. Some of the unlockables here as well weren't really all that imperative as far as battle, more like treasure and money and things like that. So moving on, the Mage, the Apprentice, healing done by 5%. We wanted some more elemental damage because we are a mage, and that spell erosion, what better to invest in there? You're going to unlock spell precision on this tree, which is 9% additional spell crit. Foresight, it's not bad. Drink a potion, you reduce your cost by 80% on your next Magicka ability. Moving on, physical weapon expert, you could shift the ratio here if you want on these, but you want to unlock the butcher, which is unlocked at I think 75 points. Staff expert, we're doing a lot more light attacks with crushing shock than we are light attacks on our sword. So butcher, light attacks and heavy attacks are increased by 5% when an enemy is below 25% health. So no matter how you want to do it, you just have to make sure you have at least 75 points invested into this tree for that butcher passive. Okay, next one here, the Mage, the Ritual, Thaumaturge. We got some damage over time on this build, so you want to invest into that. Piercing, that's going to keep our physical penetration up, give us a little boost there in damage with everything physical and poison. Mighty is going to increase physical and poison. You're going to also want to unlock the Exploiter, also 75 points into this tree at least to get the damage done against off-balance enemies, increased by 10%. Perfect Strike's also going to give you that weapon crit when you unlock it at 30. Moving into the resistance trees now, nothing in medium. Spell Shield is going to increase our spell resistance. Resistant is going to increase your crit resistance. Depending on the impenetrable pieces you have, you may need more or less of this, but you want to invest at least 75 into this tree for the Resilient passive. When you take critical damage, you heal for 179. Doesn't sound like much, but in PvP you're getting hit a lot with dots. That goes a long way, it all adds up. Next one, light armor focus. Obviously we're in light armor. I got a lot invested into this one to reduce the physical damage coming in. Thick Skin, reduce your damage over time by 10%. Then you've got your Elemental Defender. I just went for 3% there, and Hardy's like the same thing, but on the physical end, 3% there. But you definitely want 75 at least into this tree. When you deal critical hits, you heal for 346. This is every 5 seconds. Again, like I said in the last one, every little bit adds up, keeps you alive. I kind of wondered about using a Frost Staff. I haven't tried it yet, but you'd buff your resistances a little bit, and you might actually end up with more CC. Next tree, Warrior, the Lord. Healing received, quick recovery. Bastion increases some damage, shield potency. Nothing really major we're going for in this one. And that pretty much wraps up the CP distribution and the build video. So in closing, I'll play one final clip of this build in PvP and take this minute just to talk to you guys. I kind of wanted to just basically take a second and thank everybody. That last build video I made, the Necrotic Horde, the Necromancer video, the Necromancer build, I didn't expect it to get the views it got. I mean, it's got 6,000. I watched it climb this past month, and that's not a lot. I know there's guys that have, there's channels that have millions, so 6,000 is not a big number, but it was a big deal to me. All the feedback and comments I got, people loving what I was sharing, people, like-minded people, bouncing their ideas off of what I've kind of put out there, and I love it. I love having original thought, having original builds, getting away from the meta, and that's my intention, to have fun, keep this game alive, keep it unique, and always explore new avenues. And they keep changing the game with new DLCs and new patch notes and whatnot, and new sets, so there's always something new to try out. And I think that's one of the funnest factors to this game, is the customization and the ability to make a completely unique yet effective build. But thank you all very much for your support. It's inspired me to make a couple more videos, maybe keep this up, see what happens. But anyway, that wraps up this build video. Again, thanks for watching. I'll be posting another one here soon. This next one's going to be pretty badass. It's completely different than what you guys see here, but another non-meta, original, out-of-the-box build. And it's going to be a Dragon Knight, so I'll give you that little bit. But thanks again, guys. If you like this build video and you want to see more, I did have some that I shared in the past. Look at my channel. You'll see several of them. Like, comment, share, subscribe, copy and paste. Get out there, have fun. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Dark Energy, AOE Gaming, signing out.